We can now look at a slightly different way of grouping information using some of the grid functions. Watch what happens when we select the column header, person name, and move it up into the bar. As the message in the bar informs us, dragging a column header here will group information by that column. The red arrows indicate this is what will happen when we release the mouse. The grid view changes, grouping the records by people's name, with the number of items within each group section being shown in brackets. They can be expanded by clicking on the plus symbol. We can then look at this individual's items in isolation. To collapse the grouping, use the minus symbol. Select another group of records and so on. We'll collapse that, and to clear the group view, simply drag the option back down, and the grid is restored to its original layout. There may be times when we want to put additional information against specific records. For instance, we may want to annotate cases of overexposure. This is easily done in the Notes field. To add notes, simply right-click and select Edit Notes. Enter the required notes. As an example, we'll enter here that the tool was found to malfunction. We can save and close that entry, and that now can be seen to appear in the grid view. We'll also observe that notes can also be selected as a filter. So if you use a pattern of notation, it's easy to retrieve these records. Here you'll see on this screen that we have a column marked division, which is empty. This can also be used as a way to group information for individuals and gangs of employees. Using the division column, we can introduce a hierarchical department structure. To do this, we can right-click on an individual in the grid and go to the Edit Personnel function. This will then bring up the Personnel Properties dialog box. To show you an alternative way of doing this, we can close the box and move across to one of the other menus found within ToolMinder. Selecting the View option. You'll notice that the menu options have now changed, and we move to the Personnel option, which brings up the Personnel grid view, titled at the top. And now we can select an individual, Richard Payne, and we see the Name Properties dialog as before. Here you'll see an employee number. In this case, it's been retrieved from the swipe card on the Have meter system. We can make various entries on this individual. None of these have to be completed, but by doing so we can take greater advantage of the ToolMinder software. By clicking on the icon, we can create a division, which brings up the New Division dialog box. We can enter in a simple title, Division 1, save and close. Should you wish to edit this, simply select the alternative icon, which will bring up that dialog and allow you to make changes. If we want to identify another level within this structure, we can establish departments. This is done within this area. Again, using similar icons to bring up dialogues, we can create a department, and we'll call that Highways. And now save and close. We can create additional department levels beneath that, for example, Motorways. And we can now see that 2 levels of department have been created. Now save this and close. We can see that Richard Payne is now designated to the Division 1. If we now move to the grouping panel and right-click to refresh that, you'll note that the arrows have appeared next to Division and Department. Selecting this expands the department so that we can see the Highways department, and if we expand that, we have a Motorways subdivision. To return to our exposure data records, we simply move up and select that view by toggling the tabs from the Personnel view to the Have Manager view, which has remained opened and in the background. Because we've carried out additional work, we need to refresh the grid by right-clicking and selecting Refresh. And that has now brought the divisional information for Richard Payne. Refresh the grouping panel within the HAV Manager view. Expand the department, and when we select Highways, we see that all other records are filtered out. Richard Payne being the only employee assigned to Highways, under the broader grouping of Division 1, it's only records for him that are displayed in the grid. We have successfully filtered Richard Payne as the employee working within the Highways department. And that concludes the software tutorial. This concludes the user guide section of the HAV Meter DVD. Of course, we haven't been able to cover every aspect of the system, but you should have a good working knowledge of how the HAV Meter functions. The operational and software manuals detail the more advanced features of the system, and you should consult these as well as the website. We wish you all the best in hand-on vibration best practice, and thanks very much for watching.